This episode of I've Had It is brought to you by Just Thrive. Right now, you can save 20% off a 90-day bottle of Just Thrive probiotic or Just Calm at justthrivehealth.com with promo code HADIT.
So are we supposed to start the podcast?
Okay, go Pumps.
I thought you were going to start.
You have to clap.
Oh, God, I completely forgot. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I mean,
it.
That is just absolute crush. Nation, you are an amazing podcaster.
Right. I mean, the Sagging Dragons didn't even bring it down.
Close to being like, I would say like Time Person of the Year with that clap.
That's exactly what I am. Humanitarian of the Year. Maybe a Nobel Peace Prize for clapping.
Profile in courage.
Absolutely.
So anyway, Pumps, let me tell you something I've had it with.
Okay.
I feel like there's all this advice out in the world.
Right.
Like, here's what you have to do to be healthy. You take this supplement, you take this for gut health. It's a probiotic. Then if you're sick, you take an antibiotic. And it's like, listen, I'm an interior designer and a podcaster. Right. I don't know what all of this stuff means.
Right.
And it seems like there's so much information out there that I'm like, I don't think I want to do any of it. Like,
right. And so many quick fixes, like you see on the internet. Oh, you know, Oprah does this and you'll be anorexic looking in 2 days. And I'm always like, of course I buy it. But then I'm like, obviously, if that was true, everybody would be thin on the planet.
Right.
Everybody's stomach would be flat.
I just think that there's days certainly where I wake up where I feel bloated.
Right.
And it's not necessarily that I've changed that much. I don't know what the tweak was in my diet. Maybe I didn't eat super healthy, or I'll wake up and some days like I don't have like what would be called clinical anxiety or clinical depression. But some days I wake up and I do kind of feel like I have the blues.
Right. I think everybody does.
Some days I wake up and I feel like, God, I'm just feel anxious today.
Right.
Or some days, like, I feel like, oh, I'm so bloated and I don't know why. And I just feel like maybe I need to integrate supplements into my life daily, but I just don't know what to do.
Right. And I'll tell you what I've had it with is I'm either constipated or shitting in my pants. Like there's no happy medium.
It's unbelievable.
It can't just be you wake up, you have a nice poop, you move on about your day.
That's what I do.
It's like fill your pants while you're at an Office Depot, or you're sitting on there fighting for your life.
You really have always had amazing, breathtaking bowel issues.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure I have undiagnosed irritable bowel.
Well, considering you think you're a physician, why don't you just go ahead and diagnose yourself?
I probably could.
But listen up, listener and Pumps. We have an expert in this industry as our guest exclusively on I've Had It today. She is the CEO of the company Just Thrive, and her name is Tina Anderson, and she is going to walk us through this minefield. Right. Without further ado, let's welcome Tina Anderson to I've Had It podcast. Tina Anderson, welcome to I've Had It. How are you?
Thanks, ladies. I am doing great. How are you guys doing?
So good.
I'm fantastic. Pumps was right before you came on was talking about these horrible issues she has with her bowel movements. And it's like either foot on the accelerator smashed down to the floorboard or slamming on the brakes.
Right.
There's no normalcy with her bowel movements. And as her best friend, Tina, I have to hear about this in excruciating detail. And I'm hoping that you can help this woman out.
I am here to help. You have brought the right person on.
I'm so excited. I have so many questions because I have to say, the only time I've ever heard of a probiotic is when your doctor gives you an antibiotic and they say, take a probiotic. And I've really never paid that much attention until recently when I had to do hormones and thyroids and all that, and then started taking your products. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I need to know more about this. I feel like it's a really interesting deal because there's so many myths in the probiotic world. So first of all, tell us why gut health is important.
Yeah, I'm glad you're starting there because I think that is super important. You know, so many people associate a problem with gut health as having digestive issues. So having the gas, the bloating, the diarrhea and constipation, like you're talking about. heartburn, all those types of things. And those are definitely signs that you have some gut imbalance going on. But what we're starting to understand now, or like what people are starting to understand, what the research is very clearly showing us, is that our gut health is really dictating every aspect of our overall health. So skin issues, acne, psoriasis, all types of skin issues, irritations, those are actually stemming from our gut health, an imbalance going on in our gut health. The other really important thing is like mood health. So, our mental health. So, anxiety, depression, all of those types of conditions, ADHD, Alzheimer's, dementia, all these things are actually stemming from an imbalance in our gut health. Gut health is really where we start with overall health. People take multivitamins, people take vitamin D, they're taking all different types of supplements, which I think are wonderful things to be taking. But if your gut is inflamed, which most of us have inflamed guts, they're not even going to be able to absorb those nutrients. They won't be able to absorb, you're eating really healthy, like kale and, broccoli and all these great greens but you're not absorbing those nutrients because our guts are so inflamed. We are living in a world that is so offensive to our gut health. And yet gut health is dictating every aspect of our overall health.
Let me ask you this. So I typically feel my bowel movements are normal. I eat pretty healthy. I exercise every day. And when you talk about supplements in this world, I'm like, and I don't take antibiotics unless a doctor has confirmed via a blood test that I do need them. But as I navigate, pretty healthy person, going to be 49 in a couple of months, should I start taking probiotics? And then you also sent us a box and there was a probiotic for dogs. And there is one thing that I care more about my own personal health, and that is my dog's health. And my dogs are French bulldogs, and they have a lot of gut issues. I mean, a lot. There's a lot of gas.
So much gas.
There's a lot of snorting. And I love them unconditionally, warts and all. But I made Pump start to give her dog the probiotic first to make sure her dog didn't drop dead, because she's not a good pet owner, Tina.
Shut up.
I'm a fantastic pet owner. So I sent the decoy probiotics with her, but I really think it could help my dog. So number one, what do you think somebody like I should start taking out of what you offer? And number two, is this safe to give to my biological children, Cha-Cha and Tubby, the French bulldogs?
Okay. Number one, yes, I do feel strongly that you should be taking it because, as I had mentioned, we are living in this world that is so offensive to our gut health. And even though you are feeling great now, there's something called leaky gut. And leaky gut, and I don't want to get too sciencey here, but basically it's like this drippy faucet. When we're eating something that is disruptive to our gut, or we're faced with these toxins in our gut, our gut lining starts to leak a little bit and we don't have any problems. And then one day it's like there's this drip in the faucet and one day it overflows. And then somebody all of a sudden starts having an autoimmune issue. They start having an allergy to something. They start having, some heart disease or whatever it might be, more anxiety, more depression, whatever it might be. And it's likely due to this leakiness of these toxins that are in your gut that aren't really problematic when they're in your gut. It's when they seep out. And unfortunately, like I said, this world we're living in, we did a study on leaky gut, showed 50% of college students that were healthy, they had no other they had no other health issues, they weren't on any medication, had a leaky gut and didn't know it. You could have a leaky gut and have no symptoms, and then one day all of a sudden it overflows. And because of this world we're living in, I do feel very passionately that everybody should be on a spore-based probiotic because it will help seal up that leakiness of the gut. And I'm just like you, Jennifer. I had no gut issues. I went to the bathroom regularly, but boy, when I now go to the bathroom, it's a whole new feeling. I mean, my mom and I talk about this all the time. We're like, I know this sounds so gross, but it's like, I just feel cleaned out. You just feel so like clean and light and you feel better. And it's so much better.
It's so true that, taking a big poo as a woman, we all like our stomachs to feel flat and we all like to feel lighter. When you have a really gargantuan one, I rise from the toilet and I'm like, I'm ready to put on my bikini. Let's go. So if you're telling me if I start taking these probiotics, I'm going to have a more intense, more cleansing bowel movement. I'm 100% in on that because you feel great after you go number 2. You do. It's a release. Everybody feels better after that happens.
Yes, and it's not even, it's just so easy to have, it comes out. It's not diarrhea and it's not constipation. It's this perfectly formed poop. And it's like that's really what you want to
Totally
strive for.
We want to be good poopers.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
everybody it's gross to talk about, but we should talk about it because everybody wants to achieve the perfect poo. I mean, but let's talk about my dogs and this probiotic for these dogs, because this is what made me think I'm really going to love this woman, because not only is she helping human beings be healthier, but she has also acknowledged that our dogs need to be healthier. And these little Frenchies, I mean, they are little piglets. And so there's just a lot of gas and a lot of stuff. Is this safe for me to give to my dogs? And please tell me, like, what, if you have a dog or any of your clients have had dogs, and what they've seen as a result of this.
Absolutely, it is safe. We've actually done a clinical study on leaky gut. I was talking about the leaky gut study that we did for humans with our probiotic, but we've actually done a study on dogs for leaky gut. I mean, the number one reason why dog owners are going to the vet is because of digestive issues. And, you're not alone with that, because we're seeing that all the time. And we have seen great improvements with dog owners, just their bowel movements becoming more regular, not itching as much because they have skin issues. We've seen a lot of that. We've just seen their overall health better for the dogs, and mood. Mood is very associated with your gut health. So we've seen that. We've heard so much great feedback from our dog owners. And it's funny because in the pharmaceutical industry, which is where I came from, it's like side effects include, suicidal thoughts, death, all these awful things. Like with the probiotics, it's like side effects are more energy, better mood, sleeping better. We have had so many great side effects. I've had so many, or weight management. A lot of people have talked about weight management because, that when you're going to the bathroom regularly, you're obviously getting rid of toxins and getting rid of all that stuff. But it also, your gut bacteria is what dictates if you're one of those people that can look at a cupcake and gain 10 pounds, or one of those people that eats 10 cupcakes and doesn't gain any weight. And I would never propose that we should be eating cupcakes anyway, but that's not good for our gut health. But we all do it once in a while. But it's our guts that's dictating that. So there's all these other side effects that the dogs are experiencing, as well as humans, when you start to take care of your gut. Even though you may come to the product because you want to take care of some bloating that's out of control,
Totally safe. No side effect for the dogs.
No,
I'm just confirming, because most people feel like I do about animals, Angie.
I know,
Not
but
like
I'm
you.
just saying, I have got like 2 pages worth of questions.
Okay, but
about humans.
But this is okay. Let me ask you one thing, then I'm going to flip it to Angie. You have a probiotic, but you also have a psychobiotic, and so I have a 2-part question on that. Number one, tell us what that does. And number two, do you think that a psychobiotic comes in a powder, and can I put it in maybe somebody's iced tea without them knowing, and stir it up in their Stanley cup and let them drink it? Like, slip them a psychobiotic Mickey.
Yeah. You absolutely can do that. Yes, absolutely. So a psychobiotic is basically friendly bacteria that actually is helping support the gut-brain axis. So there's the vagus nerve, which connects the brainstem down to the intestinal tract. And so there is communication going back and forth all the time between your gut and your brain. And this is fascinating. I mean, we know we're like nervous about something and we have butterflies, or we're excited we have butterflies in our stomach,
That's
or
true.
we're nervous and you have to go to the bathroom, or you can't go to the bathroom because you're nervous. This is your gut and brain talking to each other. We know that cortisol is a huge disruptor to our gut health. When we have high cortisol because we're stressed out, we're always in that fight or flight response. That is very disruptive to our gut health. And so this psychobiotic actually helps bring down the cortisol levels, actually helps us be able to handle stress better, which, who wouldn't want that? And
Right.
A psychobiotic is so critical. Unfortunately, when we launched last year with the psychobiotic, sold out immediately. You could imagine.
I would imagine, because there's so many psychos, Tina. This is something that I can 100% get behind. People are psycho, and to have a psycho, I'm one of them.
Right.
Pumps is off her rocker, Tina. It's unbelievable how psycho she is. So, this is something we're going to jump right on, and our listeners are bananas. So, our listeners are definitely going to need this psychobiotic. This episode of I've Had It is brought to you by Just Thrive. Okay, pumps, we are taking control of our health this year, especially yours. We've talked about constipations and spoons up your butt and post-pregnancy poops over and over again. But guess what? We found a winner. There's a better way to get things moving and keep them moving all the time. Just Thrive Probiotics. Just Thrive Probiotic is an award-winning spore-based formula that's clinically proven to banish bad bacteria and replenish the good, and help you beat gas and bloat and finally conquer your dreaded constipation. Even when you're traveling or having a baby, binged on crappy foods, literally anything, Just Thrive has got you. This is a game changer for your digestive health, your immune system, your skin, even your mood. Your gut literally controls everything. And with zero gluten, dairy, or histamines, Just Thrive Probiotic is perfect for your whole family. You can open the capsules and sprinkle it into any food or drink, which I love. Or they have a delicious gummy probiotic. We love their probiotic and mood support, Just Calm. It's the ultimate health duo to help us conquer the day-to-day. Listener, if you're ready to take control of constipation, bloat, and stress and live your healthiest life yet, you can get 20% off your first 90-day bottle of Just Calm and Just Thrive Probiotic today. Visit justthrivehealth.com and use promo code HADIT. Take control today with Just Thrive.
Okay, so taking the probiotic, just the general probiotic. And then I'm interested in your gluten away, which I want to ask you about in a minute. And then the calm, which I'm going to ask you about in a minute. So can you take all three probiotics, or is there one better than the others?
Absolutely. So the probiotic is a probiotic strain. The psychobiotic is a psychobiotic strain, and the gluten away is not a probiotic strain. It's made up of digestive enzymes and a whole bunch of other important ingredients we could go into later. But so yes, you could absolutely take them at the same time. What I would always recommend is starting with one. If I was a good salesperson, I would tell you to, start them all tomorrow. Right. But I really think it's important that you start with one and you really focus on seeing the changes that you notice, and like journal it and notice it, pay attention for at least 30 days or 3 weeks to 4 weeks. Just stay on the probiotic, then introduce the psychobiotic. The gluten away, you could take that at the same time. You could just take it. We recommend taking it before you're going to eat a meal that could have some amounts of gluten. You know, you might eat gluten-free pizza. We know that even gluten-free pizzas have some trace amounts of gluten in it. You want to avoid that. So yes, you could definitely take them all at the same time. Eventually, like I'm on so many of our products, but I took my time getting there. I would recommend everyone starting with the probiotic, because it is so foundational to our overall health, and everything else you're going to do is going to work that much better. And, hopefully you could avoid putting spoons up your butt at some point. That would be our goal. That would be our goal.
I want to talk about that because, that really went viral in the UK press. So as an American, I'm glad that you knew what this woman
addressing it
went through. But let's talk about, that was the most traumatizing thing for me after having given birth, that post-pregnancy poop. So for a lot of our listeners are younger and maybe are pregnant or considering getting pregnant. Are these products safe to take during pregnancy?
Yes. And we always say you should ask your doctor if it's okay to take a probiotic. I don't know any doctor that wouldn't say that, but yes, they're very safe for pregnancy. And not only that, they are so critical for pregnancy, because you are actually, when a mother is pregnant and the baby is born, you are passing on your microbiome. So you're passing on your bacteria. So if you have more bad bacteria than good bacteria in your gut, you are passing that on to your child. And like I said, the majority of this population has more bad bacteria than good bacteria because of the world we're living in. But it is so important to start taking care of your gut before you're getting pregnant, while you're pregnant, because you are passing on. That is the only time the baby is inoculated with their bacteria, is during vaginal childbirth. So really, really, and close skin to skin contact and breastfeeding, but really important to be taking the probiotic. And in addition to all of the health benefits that they're going to give you, like regular poops and better energy and all of the other great things that, better skin health, all of those things, better mood. We really want to encourage pregnant women to be on this. It is so critically important because it's like the best gift you could give your kids.
So you say we pass on our negative gut health to our kids. And my heart just immediately fell to my stomach because I'm like, this is just one more horrible attribute that I passed on to my children because I didn't know you then, Tina.
Right.
My kids are 16 and 20. So this is just one more thing we passed on to these poor kids
we now
of ours.
have to fix.
Psycho. We're psychos. Now we can take psychobiotics. But the kids can take this, right? Our kids can take this stuff.
Two things that just blew my doors off when I read them. That probiotics, they tell you they have to be in the refrigerator. They have to get into your system, blah, blah, blah. They're dead. Like by the time they get, I was stunned that they could advertise like that. So explain that to me because I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest myths in the probiotic industry. So many people will say, oh, well, you take a probiotic, just make sure it's the one in the refrigerator because that's a live microorganism. And I don't think companies were like, ill-intended or anything like that. It's just that we do know that in order to be defined as a probiotic, it needs to be a live microorganism that confers a benefit onto the host, which is your body. So it needs to be alive. Well, it needs to be alive in your intestines. It doesn't need to be alive in the refrigerator. It needs to be alive in your intestines. The majority of those probiotics, like if you think about it, they can't even withstand the room temperature of the store shelf. So if you put one of those refrigerated probiotics on a store shelf for an hour, all of those probiotics would be dead if they're not already dead, because between, the transportation of them getting on that in that refrigerator, let's say they were alive, by the time they got on the store shelf, they would be dead. So how in the world would they ever survive your body temperature, which is 98.6, much hotter than room temperature of the store shelf? Then even worse, then it hits these, you swallow the capsule. The body temperature probably kills it, but let's say it doesn't kill it all. Then it goes into the stomach acid. It hits the stomach and it's so acidic. The stomach is meant to be acidic, the gastric barrier. The overwhelming majority of probiotics on the market are dying in that stomach acid. It's not until they hit when they get to the intestines, that's when they get there and they're dead, and they're basically dead bacteria in the intestines. So the key is to find a probiotic strain that actually is alive when it hits the intestines and that it could stay there for a while, alive, doing its work and making a true change in the gut flora. And it's not to say that those other probiotics are horrible or dangerous or anything like that. It's just that they really aren't effective. They're dead bacteria that may give you some symptomatic relief, but they're not making a true change in the gut flora.
Okay. The other thing I found so fascinating is that 80 to 90% of like the happy hormones, serotonin, dopamine, they're in your stomach. I had no idea.
All these important neurotransmitters that are affecting our mood are actually being produced in our gut. We think serotonin, like you said, serotonin is our happy hormone. 90 to 95% of it is being produced in our gut, not in our brain. So all these years, I feel like psychiatrists have had their hands tied. They're using SSRIs and different anti-anxiety drugs, and we're not seeing much relief. Most people aren't seeing relief. And it's because we've been focusing on the wrong place. We've needed to focus on the gut because it's the gut that's producing all these neurotransmitters. Like dopamine is produced in our gut. GABA, which is the calming hormone, is produced in our gut. So when we're talking about being happy and having a good mood, we want to really be focusing on our gut health and then doing other things too. Meditation, walking outside. Those are things that are incredibly important for our mental health, but we need to first focus on our gut.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about the whole, my husband is a recovering drug addict alcoholic and was on antidepressants for years and years because that was just the road that it was, sit down, go to AA, get on SSRIs. And he recently quit taking them, weaned off appropriately, and sees an endocrinologist and is more into this gut health stuff. And I've now given him some of the stuff that you sent to us. He totally needs that psychobiotic, but that's a whole nother episode entirely. But it's amazing that, we think that I always thought dopamine, serotonin, all of that stuff was in the brain. But when you said everything, you feel it in your gut, your fight or flight, butterflies, all of that is so true. I mean, every time I have intense feelings, it's always right in my gut. So I think all of this makes perfect sense that we need to be less psycho and healthier with our gut.
Right. I wondered one thing, Tina, like I have terrible taste in men. I mean, terrible.
Do you have a pill for that?
No, but I'm just saying like my gut reaction would get better. So technically it would help me be a better picker if I got my gut shit right.
I think so. You know what? Tina used to be a trial lawyer.
Yes, I know.
Pumps is an attorney.
Right. I just do divorce.
Yes,
she is one of the great legal minds of our generation, yes, Tina. I'm sure you've heard of her and are familiar with all of her briefs that she's written.
Yes, right.
Various courtrooms across, despite the spoon story, she is a brilliant legal mind.
No, and that's stressful. But that's what I loved about the calm that you were saying, like you've seen improved in mood, sleep, weight loss, and just general like peppier, like more active. Yep. That's crazy to me.
We're laughing about the gut instinct, but I mean, it is true. I mean, there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, I feel like I trust my gut so much because I know my gut is so healthy. And it's like, this is not like woo woo. I mean, this is scientifically shown in study after study that there is this connection, this communication. It's the largest nerve in our body going back and forth from the brainstem to the gut, sending signals back and forth to each other. So it's, and I mean, you have constipation and diarrhea issues. You've got this gut issue. I mean, I am excited to see what's going to happen when you start taking this for at least 90 days and see what starts to happen. I mean, it'll be really exciting.
Well, it's so funny because I was like telling Jennifer, I'm like the get skinny, the get happy, do it quick. My attention span's short. Okay, I'll take the pill tomorrow. I'll be fine. But you recommend 90 days. You have to be diligent for 90 days.
I would always recommend 90 days. People will see improvements usually sooner than that. I mean, we see some people it's interesting with diarrhea. I feel like people see things quicker, they'll see it faster. With constipation, it takes a little bit longer for some reason, but you'll start. The reason I feel so adamant about the 90 days is that then you start to see all the other things that start to improve, maybe the better, more energy, maybe a little bit of better weight management,
less psycho,
possibly
pick a better mate, not have such horrible taste in men.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe quit craving all these artificial sweeteners all the time.
That's another thing that your cravings change with the probiotic. Is that right?
Absolutely. See, the thing is that yeast, when you have an overgrowth of candida or yeast in your gut, it causes you to crave sugar. So we've actually heard that from a lot of people that they have less sugar cravings now. I mean, I can't believe I forgot that one. That's like one of the best side effects.
Now I crave sugar like a crackhead. I love candy. Love it.
Yeah. Well, I guess I always say like baby steps. If we start to, we don't have to do any major changes right away, but that candida overgrowth, the candida is a normal part of our gut flora. But when we are, when we have an overgrowth of the candida, we're going to crave sugar that much more. And so we start to see improvements in that as well.
Well, I don't think there is a bigger testament to your psychobiotic than this little detail that I read in your bio. And it is that you work with your husband side by side,
right,
with a smile on your face every single day.
And you
work with him and live with him. And talking to you here, you seem so healthy. I'm not sensing resentment,
right? How's
short fused, because I don't think there would be a bottle of psychobiotics big enough,
right?
If I had to work with Josh and live with Josh. So do you think this whole, are y'all just total soulmates, or do you think this whole approach just helps your give a shit meter kind of calm down a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we are total soulmates. I mean, I don't know. We just celebrated 30 years last week.
Oh, congratulations.
And it's worked out. I don't know why. My mom and dad worked together. Maybe it's because I saw that my whole life. And so now we work together, but we are soulmates. And I don't know. I'm super lucky, super lucky.
And he works in the company with you, and y'all are complete partners in this.
we're complete partners in it from an ownership perspective. From a management perspective, I'm the CEO and he's more on the back end of things. So I'm more the face of the brand and I take maybe more of a lead than he does.
We like to call this the HBIC, the head bitch in charge.
That's right. That's exactly what I am. And he'll say that every day, all day.
You know, happy wife, happy life.
Right.
So your husband's
That's
a
right.
smart man. Yeah.
He is a very smart man. He knows.
Well, Tina, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners about what they can do as they navigate this whole process of, you know, probiotics and supplements? Because the market is so saturated and there's so much misinformation out there. And so if there's anything else you'd like to share with our listeners on the Just Thrive products, I'd love for them to hear because we're so excited to get started on ours.
Yeah. One of the things I love to tell people is just taking baby steps. We put so much pressure on ourselves to make these massive changes. And then of course we never follow through.
Right.
If you just start doing baby steps, maybe start to eat more organic, maybe have more organic of this food one day than another, and just trying to eliminate a lot of those pesticides that we're eating on a regular basis, trying to be in nature more, going out on walks and being in nature, those will help.
Yes.
As well as, of course, I would recommend that everyone start taking the Just Thrive probiotic. I mean that I feel so passionate about that because I know what it's done for our thousands of customers. I know my family, my kids, my, son-in-law, my priest, my parents, everybody, my in-laws were all on it because of what it's done for our overall health. It is so important. And not all probiotics are created equal. I mean, we know the majority of them are actually dying before they get to the intestines. Find a probiotic that has human clinical trials behind it. Find a probiotic that is using research strains, not just strains that we got in China and they're not doing anything and they just have great marketing behind it. So really, really important to just take baby steps and take a high quality probiotic and just focus on your gut health. And then start introducing all these other supplements that you want to take. And then when you're searching for supplements, find products that have research behind it. We as supplement companies don't invest in research a lot of times because it's expensive and we don't have the, funds that pharma has. But you know what? We've made that a priority because we wanted to elevate the standard of the supplement industry. It's really important to us. We will never be a supplement company that launches 200 SKUs. We are really very thoughtful about what kind of products that we introduce to the market.
Well, I really appreciate that you say that it's a cumulative approach. You can take Just Thrive probiotic, but you also need to get up, get outside, and take a moment to walk your dog or go for a walk with your spouse or go for a walk by yourself. Also, try to buy more organic. I'm always on her about this. And she's like, oh, it doesn't matter. I'm like, no, it does. That's the reason. And you're 100% correct. I go to Europe, a few times a year for vacation. And when I come home, I ate everything I wanted to, and I didn't gain 1 pound. Dessert with every meal. I mean, it was amazing. Of course, you walk a lot outside. The first day of eating back in the United States, my gut is torn to shreds, and it's all these toxins that she's talking about. So I think for our listener, the important thing is if you live in the United States, you have to mitigate these toxins that are approved to go into our food and into our environment. And a great way to mitigate them is by introducing Just Thrive probiotics to your daily routine.
Yep, exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. And I'm glad you brought that up about these other tools. This is one really effective tool. The probiotic is a very effective tool in your toolbox, but there are other tools that you should utilize too. And the walks, the nature, meditation, being calm, trying to change your lifestyle to be calmer, which is so hard for all of us.
Oh my God, it's so hard for me.
But that's why we have the psychobiotic.
Yes, that's why I need that psychobiotic because I am crazy.
I started my daughter on the Calm, and the other night or last night she was griping at me because I used a shallot and she needed a shallot. And I'm like, I'm not going to the store and getting a shallot. Use an onion. and she just got her panties so in a wad. And I said, have you taken your Calm today? She was not happy with me at all. But I think really is something to think about that I have never thought about.
I think these are really important conversations to have because we do see an increase of disease as life expectancy is so much longer now.
Right.
And it's that quality of life that you want to have for a very long time. And particularly in this country, because a lot of these industries allow corporations to rule and there's not as many regulations. We have to, as the consumer, be smart and mitigate what we can to put healthier stuff on our body because now life expectancy is like much higher, 80, 90, and you don't want to be like senile. You know,
Right.
at the end, you want to be as healthy as you can to live the longest life that you can. And so I appreciate so much what you've done, the career like transition from law to doing something that advocates for people's health. I mean, I just admire it so much. You are such a doll,
Such a doll. I mean, 50, I would have never guessed.
total spitfire, fun.
54 actually, but
Oh my gosh.
You're older than
That's
Pops.
terrible news because
you're
I'm looking at you and I'm like, there's no fucking way
I
that's
think,
comparable.
Tina, you're the first person we've ever had on this podcast that is older than Pops.
She's so rude. She's so rude.
hey, I own it. You know, it is what I feel great.
You're hot,
I
Tina.
love
Yeah,
life.
you're hot.
Stop. Thank you. Thank you.
You are. Tina Anderson of Just Thrive, I want to thank you so much for coming on I've Had It podcast. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, is the number one thing you've had it with leaky gut?
I mean, to be honest with you, absolutely. I have had it with leaky gut and people having chronic conditions and not getting better. I've had it with it.
I'm going to add this to the top of my had it list because I live with somebody who suffers from the leaky gut issues. We're working on it. We're growing and having you on here.
Right.
Look at her. She's 54.
Right. The skin thing is not a lie.
Not psycho.
Not
Healthy
psycho.
gut.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 poops.
Right.
Normal, not,
Uh,
I mean, these are goals, Tina. Total
They are
goals.
goals.
Uh-huh.
Goals. You could do it. You could do it. I'm telling you. You're on the right path now.
I love it. I love it. Well, Tina, thank you so much. We just adore you. We love your products.
Love
I
the
can't wait to
products.
be 90 days deep. And I'm going to circle back with you about
Yes.
the gut health of my biological children, Tubby and Cha Cha.
Right. Once
Okay.
they take
I can't wait.
If they stop the gas, oh my gosh, we're going to go door to door and sell this shit.
Oh, it's a miracle drug. If
It's
that
a
happens.
miracle
Yeah.
drug.
They'll stop the gas. They'll stop the gas. Just be vigilant about giving it to them. They'll stop.
I will. Okay. All right, Tina. Thank you so
thanks,
much.
ladies.
Tina.
It was so much
It
fun.
was so fun.
So fun. Bye, Tina.
Bye.
Something I've had it with is just how reluctant you are to acknowledge that like all the hormones in meat and all the pesticides are an issue. And you're just like, oh, I don't care. Oh, I don't care.
Yeah, that can't be my biggest panties in a wad. But then I hear about the serotonin and the dopamine and all that being in your gut. And
You
I think,
crammed a spoon up your ass. So at
Right.
some point, you're going to have to get a little bit curious.
that was after I was pregnant. I haven't had to do that since.
Well, but you've also like had to shit in a trash can on the side of your house one time.
That's true.
You've also like had many blowouts in public restrooms.
Yeah. Oh God, that's the worst.
So
too.
I'm just saying,
no, there's something. to be
Tina's
said for-
on to something.
No, totally.
She is 100% onto something because when I go to Europe, I come home, my stomach feels fantastic. The first day after being back in the United States, it's ripped to shreds.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
What's so crazy is the gluten thing, because like gluten-free products, I was reading a study, 39% of gluten-free products have gluten. 50% of gluten-free pastas and pizzas have gluten.
Well, look at the statistician on I've Had It podcast.
I'm a numbers person.
You are. Love to dig into the data.
Love the data.
Well, listener, we want to thank you so much for joining us for this special gut health bonus episode. We love Tina Anderson and we love her products. I'm going to circle back with you all and let you know how it's going with the French Bulldogs. Pumps has already given like a week's worth to her dog.
Yeah.
He's lived. So now I'm going to start my dogs on it.
He doesn't have gas. So I just
want to make sure he didn't drop dead.
No, he didn't drop dead. He's fine.
Right.
He also eats pencils. So
Oh my God. And grapes that are toxic for dogs, but that's neither here nor there. All right, listener, thank you so much. Please send us a voice memo to Instagram. Check out our Instagram because the Hot Shit Tour is rolling out.
Right.
And we will be in Atlanta, Philly, in DC. So if you're near those areas, hop on and to our Instagram and click the link in bio and you can buy tickets. And we will announce new tour cities soon if we haven't already by the time this airs. And we would like to thank everybody for joining us for this very special bonus episode because we are the beacons of gut health.
Right. This is an episode where we're actually helping people. First time.
We're helpers.
We're helpers.
Don't get it twisted, everybody. We're helping.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Pumps, tell them.
We will see you next Tuesday or Thursday or both.
Bye, listener.
Tell you what I've had it with.